The Portuguese were the first European power to come to India. It was the British that eventually established the magnificent colonial empire in India. But what were the other European powers that came to India for the colonial purposes? Hello everyone, I am Bharat Vadera and I welcome you all to the second episode of the series The Love of History. In this episode, we are going to understand how other European powers, the Dutch, the English, the French and the Danes, how they came to India and how they competed with each other. As we go along, I want you to keep one thing in mind, that this entire story is not just about trade, it's about economic competition turning into political control. Let's begin with the Dutch. The Dutch East India Company was established in 1602. Now, by the 17th century, the Dutch had already defeated the Portuguese in many regions and emerged as the most dominant trading power in the East. They established their trading centers at places like Masulipatam, Pulicat, Surat, Karaikal, Nagapattinam, Chinnasura and Kasim Bazar. Now, among these, Pulicat was their main center in India, though it was later replaced by Nagapattinam. But here is something very important. Though the Dutch were very powerful in the east, their main focus was not India. Rather, their main focus was on the Spice Islands that we call off as Indonesia these days. The Spice Islands, after the Dutch control, they came to be known as the Dutch East Indies. So when the English started challenging them in the 17th century, the Dutch made a strategic decision. They decided to focus on the Spice Islands, the spice trade based in the Dutch East Indies, and they left India largely to Britain. So the result of the Anglo-Dutch rivalry was that the Dutch dominance was established in Indonesia and the English dominance in India. Now let's move to the most important player in this game, the English. The English East India Company was established in 1600 and it received a royal charter from Queen Elizabeth I. Now initially the English were trying to establish themselves within the Mughal Empire. In 1609, Captain William Hawkins arrived at the court of Mughal Emperor Jahangir seeking permission to set up a factory at Surat. But here is the interesting part. He was unsuccessful. Why? Because of the Portuguese influence at the Mughal court. However, the things changed in 1612. Jahangir issued a farman, that is an official permission, and the English established their first factory at Surat. This is a very important milestone, the real beginning of English presence in India. Then comes another important figure, Sir Thomas Roe. He came to India in 1615 as an official ambassador to the Mughal court. And unlike Hawkins, Roe was successful. He managed to secure permission from Jahangir to establish factories in different parts of India. After this, the English began expanding rapidly. By 1619, they had established factories at Masulipatam, Agra, Ahmedabad, Bharuch, Baroda, and then finally in 1651, they established their first factory in Bengal on the banks of river Hooghly. Now comes a very important part, the emergence of three presidency towns. First, Madras. It was founded by Francis Day, who obtained land from a local ruler under the Vijayanagar Empire. Here the English built Fort St. George, which became an important administrative center. Second, Bombay. Now Bombay has an interesting story. It was originally under the Portuguese, but it was given to the English King Charles II as part of a marriage dowry. Then in 1668, it was transferred to the East India Company. Third, Calcutta. An English factory was established at a village called Sutanati by Job Sharnock. Later, this area developed by combining Sutanati, Gobindpur and Kalikata villages. And this eventually became the city of Calcutta, where Fort William was established. So, by this time, the British had three administrative centers in India, Bombay, Madras and Calcutta. And this is where you begin to see the administrative foundation of the British taking shape. The French East India Company was established in 1664 by Jean-Baptiste Colbert, who was a minister under Louis XIV. The first French factory in India was set up at Surat by François Caron. But the most important French center was Pondicherry, founded in 1673 by Francois Martin. And Pondicherry soon became the headquarters of French possessions in India. Apart from Pondicherry, the French also had other important settlements, for example at Masulipatnam, at Karaikal, Janam, Chandanagar and Mahe. Now, in the 18th century, the French were the main rivals of the British in India. But that Anglo-French rivalry we'll study separately. We'll conclude our discussion on the French for now and move on to the Danes. The Danish presence in India was relatively limited. Their first settlement was established at Tranquebar in 1620. Later, they established other settlement at Serampore in Bengal, which became their main center. However, unlike the English or the French, the Danes were not able to consolidate or expand their dominions in India. Eventually, in 1845, they sold off all their possessions in India to the British and left. So that is all as far as the description of all the European powers that came to India was concerned. Now, if you step back and look at the larger picture, the Portuguese were the first to come to India. They were challenged by the Dutch in the 17th century, but the Dutch focus was on Spice Islands or Indonesia, not India. The Danes did come, but they were never a major player in India. The French were the last to arrive, but they were the most serious competitors of the English in India. Ultimately, it was the English who combined trade, diplomacy and strategy most effectively and laid the foundation for colonial rule in India. However, before they could do that, they had to deal with their competitors in India, that is the French. It is to this story that we would turn to in the next video. Stay tuned for such informative videos. That's all as far as this video is concerned.